Look, originally this video was about 20 minutes long, but I shrunk it to 7 and made it better. You can thank me by smashing the like button and hitting subscribe, but anyways, on to Spring Break 2020. I originally wanted to go to LA for spring break and even book my trip, but ended up canceling the trip for many unforeseen circumstances in which my girlfriend offered a better alternative in heading to Atlanta, but stopping in South Carolina to see my mom for her birthday as a surprise. The day finally arrived and we loaded up the car and hit the road. Our first stop was South Carolina. I began the trip by taking off at 10 p.m. and made great time before finally having to stop in Ladysmith, Virginia to fuel up the car. Finally, we hit the road again, and I drove all the way to a random stop in North Carolina so we could hop out and catch the sunrise, which was completely worth it. At that point, I've been driving for over 8 hours and gave it another hour until Hannah took over to drive us to a nostalgic place in the South that I consider another home.
So, I was busy catching Z's, and I caught up. I woke up just in time. Welcome to my favorite location to stop at in the South. South of the border. Look at my buddy Pedro.
We fueled up again, and I drove the rest of the way. I had my mom's location, so we just popped up on her at the nail salon and made for the perfect surprise. Afterwards, we did some shopping and got ready for the party at the roller skating rink. As you can see, it was 90s theme. At the rink, I took part in some really corny relationship skating, which I do all over again in a heartbeat, of course, and got to see a lot of family I don't get to see too often. After skating, Hannah and I headed back home to get some sleep while everyone else went to the club because, let's face it, the road trip caught up to us. The following morning, we packed up and hit the road again. This time for Georgia, which we made in great time without any speeding violations. After arriving at our destination, I got to meet one of Hannah's best friends, Nat, and got to see my best friend of over 8 years, Cindy. We all got dressed and headed into town for a few hours for lunch and to take some photos, which we took an absurd amount. After the photos, we ran into this sketchy Bosnian guy that introduced us to more sketchy Bosnian guys, but they turned out to be pretty cool and bought us drinks at the bar. Night finally fell and it was time to head to bed. The following day began with a trip to the Maple Street Biscuit Company for breakfast, which was a 10 out of 10. And then home to get dressed and ready to hit the Pond City Market just to roam and shop.
This whole trip. Oh wait.
It's Kelsey.
Of course, when we got there, I scurried off to take a couple pictures and got caught taking this one. After all the shopping, we stopped at Brezza Cafe for dinner and shenanigans. Then we headed home to get ready for tomorrow's adventures. The next day arrived, where I finally got to explore downtown Atlanta. Our first stop was the Cross Street Tunnel, which was well worth it. Then we headed to Chrome Yellow because I heard so many of my favorite YouTube content creators go there. I had the best chai tea latte I've ever had in my life, so that was a plus. And I got to buy some dope stickers because, well, I love stickers. Afterwards, we strolled around and saw more of what ATL had to offer to us and came across some of the city's best art. One of the last stops of downtown was Carroll Street Cafe, which also had some amazing food, and I'd highly recommend checking it out. We then made our way back to the car to head back to the apartment, but of course, stopped for a few photos and even got to see a Lambo as I was vlogging. Before heading to the apartment, we made one last stop at the Jackson Street Bridge for a couple photos. Afterwards, waited for Kelsey and we went to go get dinner as well as some dessert. Then the next day arrived, which signaled the end of our trip. We packed up our belongings, hopped in the car, headed to go visit Kelsey, who was an hour away, got lunch, and headed back home. Overall, this is a very memorable trip. It made me appreciate a lot of things, especially the little things like spending time with family and new experiences, things that a lot of people take for granted. This is a memory that will never die, and with that, I say to the open road and the people I've seen, thank you for the memories and many more. Cheers.